Hey everyone, welcome to BrOSE Books. I'm John. Tonight we're going to be starting up a OSE solo campaign in the BrOSR grand campaign style. Once it gets spun up, it's going to be a living world. It's going to be a lot of fun. At least I hope. So as you can see, I've got my Worldographer spun up right here, and a whole bunch of hexes just ready to explore, ready to be populated. I've got the first edition Dungeon Master's Guide open over here, and I know it's a little weird mixing OSE and Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. I just don't know AD&D well enough yet to really be able to dive in like that. Hopefully one day, but not yet. And I want to get this. I want to get this train rolling on what a grand campaign can look like, especially in OSE, since that's a system that I know pretty well. At least I hope. I hope I know it pretty well. And then we've got the handy dandy dice roller over here, because it is 12:08 my time, and the wife and kid are already asleep, so I don't need to wake them up with all sorts of dice clattering around. So let's go ahead and get started filling in this hex right here. We're on the kingdom level, with the ability to go all the way up to continent and world. I am going to stick with the kingdom. I found that it gets a little squirrely once you get down into the province, so I'm not even going to screw around with that right now. We'll just go ahead and keep it at kingdom with a 6 mile per hex level. So let's figure out what our first hex is going to be right here at 400. Let's get it started. Let's figure out what we're starting off with. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're starting off in the Badlands. Right, had to do some on the fly adjusting, but there we go. Now we're getting rolling. Now we're cooking with oil. So let's go ahead and do a hex flower. We'll just go starting in 400, 399, and then going in a circle around those Badlands. Let's just see what we got. Ooh, got a depression. That'll be fun. All right, so first off, we've got a desert up to the north, and then we've got a depression right here. All right, so then after our depression, we've got more rough. And more rough. So now, coming off of here, we'll go ahead and roll 6 more times, and this time we're coming off of the top, or straight out from these hexes. So 10 from a desert is going to give us more desert. 17 from rough is going to give us some mountains. 1 on just about everything, in fact I think it is everything, is going to give us plains. Then 15 off of rough will give us some hills. A 6 is going to, off of plains, will give us more plains. And then a 5 off of a desert will give us some scrub. All right, so now that we've come off of these hexes here, we're going to go to the ones that we just generated, and we're just going to go diagonally down. Let's clear these guys out. All right, so 14 off of the desert is going to give us some more desert. Lots of good desert area up there. 4 off of the mountains is going to give us some more badlands. I'm here for that. 13 off of the plains is going to give us some forest. 16 off of the hills is going to give us mountains. 12 off of the plains is going to give us some scrub. And then a 20 off of that scrub is going to give us a depression. So I've got another piece of scrub land. And we're going to go back into our symbols features, I guess. I want to find that little crater again. I like that crater. That's a good crater. And so with that, we've gotten a couple of pretty good defined areas. And I'm already starting to see a couple things here. But we're not entirely done yet. We need to figure out a couple things. Because if you look underneath the table for terrain generation, you will see that it also includes chances for hills, forests, and passes. So let's go ahead and figure that out. We've got 2 mountains. Let's figure out if either of these mountains have passes. 1 and 20 do. All right, neither of them do. And then we've got 1 forest and 1 hill. 1 in 10 forests includes a hill, and 1 in 10 hills includes a forest. So we'll just roll once for the hill and once for the forest. All right, that's both of them. We'll just go ahead and plop those down. Now let's go ahead and figure out the inhabitation of this area here. So we'll go ahead and start from the center and just do our hex flower just like we just did. First one's going to be a 41. That's nothing. If we roll anything more than 17 or anything more than 16, then we get nothing. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we have a single dwelling. Now, in case you're looking at those numbers and thinking to yourself, wait a minute, doesn't that make that an 11? Well, Google, in all of its wisdom, does not have a percentile dice. It's got 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 20. So if we were to use this as a percentile dice, then this one here, being the tens digit, would have double zeros for the 10 or 100. But since this is only a D10, it's only got the 1 through 10. So 1 times 10 would be 10. 10 times 10 would be 100. But since you can't go over 100, it's the double zero. Don't get it mixed up. That'll be alright. Oy vey. And now I've completely forgotten where we were. This is what I get for talking. That's alright. We will put a single dwelling. Let's say right here in the Badlands. That's where we'll put it. There we go. Okay, we've got a ruin. Ooh boy, here we go. 93. A ruined tomb. Let's see if we can find something good for that. This is as good as anything. So we got ruined tomb up in them hills. There we go, an 8. That'll give us a village. All right, I like villages. And then the scrub 5. That'll give us a thorp. Now we gotta find a good symbol for a thorp, which is different than a hamlet and different than a village. Let's put down this joker. That's usually the symbol I do for a hamlet, but we'll find something different instead when we get to hamlet if we need it. We've only got 2 spots left. It's unlikely, but you never know. All right, 1 spot left. Let's do it. Nope, don't need it. All right. So now let's see here. So this single dwelling. Let's open up some notes for this. Single dwelling. It automatically generates these details. I kind of like this though. This is the secluded hideaway of a retired adventurer. So you know what? I'm going to keep that description. But we are also going to look at our table again. It's got a population of 1 to 12. So easy enough. We'll just roll D12. Population 9, and one of them is a retired adventurer. I like it. All right, next one. So this one was our village. Now, some of these details I'm not the biggest fan of. All right, village has between 600 and 900. So let's roll a D4, times it by 100, and then add 500. All right, so that's 800. And then we've got our thorp over here, which has between 20 and 80. That's too easy. Let's just roll 2d4 times by 10. All right, so 50. All right. Well, that is pretty neat. That gives us our map just about. Gives us a starting location. Gives us 3 nice points of interest. Oh, 4 even if you include that guy. And at least 1 faction. That guy could be a faction all of his own. His faction ideal is to keep himself out of harm's way, keep him and his family safe, and just keep, he ran off into the Badlands to grill. He just wants to stay there and keep his head stuck in the sand while some evil is brewing in the south. All right, well, couldn't find any information off the fly for this ruined tomb right over here. That being said, we can always discover it later, whether or not it's through any of, subtables, anything like that, or possibly just Appendix A. Random dungeon generation. Why not? I'm here for it. That's certainly where the big, bad, evil guy of this area is going to be. Certainly a faction right there. The way that I'm seeing this kind of play out is this is the borderlands of some sort of kingdom, some sort of nation. Because you can tell over in the western portion of, that's where most of the civilization is. I can only imagine that there's more civilization if we kept going. Just keep going west. Eventually you'll hit more cities, maybe some castles. Pretty cool. We'll get there when we get there, but there's something brewing in the south. And this retired venturer over to the east, he might have the secret to defeating it, but he wants to keep his peace. So it is 12:45, and I want to make some characters. But that's all that we're going to have time for today. All right, well, thank you for joining me. I hope you had fun. I had fun. Hope you enjoyed my descent into madness. All right, well, I'm going to call it. I've been recording for way too long. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.